When I was young, growing up in New Jersey, I would often go to take a run at a local trail, just about 5 minutes from my house. My town was quiet to begin with, but inside this trail, the silence was complete. And there I could run, walk, bike, whatever, and I could be completely in tune with nature and all of her sounds. The trail was named after the small river that it followed, the Ramanujan Brook, but I preferred to believe that it was named after Lord Rama, and I convinced myself that Rama himself had walked the trail just like me. And so, 10 years later, I find myself here at SAI Sanctuary, and it's a whole different ballgame. The nature in New Jersey was just training wheels compared to the vibrant, vivid, unbelievably lush greenery that's all around us here. Every step here is a new discovery, a new plant, a new frog, a new butterfly, a new snake, everything. And the wonderful thing is that even though I've returned to India every year for the past 5 years, I've still never experienced anything quite like this. I come to Bangalore every year for cultural reasons, to learn classical music. But SAI Sanctuary here, it transcends culture. Nature herself transcends culture. Nature doesn't care whether you're an Indian or an American, or for that matter, a Kannadiga or a Bengali. Here, it's not the cultural, ethnic, religious identities that separate us that matter. It's the oneness, it's the pervasive humanness that connects us that matters. I feel really welcome here, and I know that no matter who one is, he feels welcomed by nature. And what better place to experience nature than in her undisturbed lap, right here in SAI Sanctuary. What I've learned here is that whatever challenges face us regarding nature, climate change, global warming, whatever, they don't only affect Punjabis or Japanese or Australians, they affect the whole world. Everybody, everything is connected. And that's what I've learned here. You chop down your forest, you lose your birds. You lose your birds, you lose your natural predators against mosquitoes. You get more mosquitoes, you get more disease. It's all connected, it's the web of life. And that's why places like this are so important, because they protect our forests and they protect our biodiversity, and they're our first defenses against climate change. And who could argue with a view like this? It's unbelievable. SAI Sanctuary is a one-of-a-kind place.
I came to SAI Sanctuary thinking that I knew a lot about nature. I grew up in a family where we went hiking, we went camping, I was playing outside all the time. And then I'm a biology student at my American university, and I thought, so there I learned all about ecology, all about how organisms work together. And I came here thinking I knew a lot. And I realized that I knew nothing, and I didn't learn until I came to SAI Sanctuary. Here we got to sit within nature as she wants to be seen, and we got to see nature's balance, and it was an incredible sight. It was not only beautiful, but you realize how useful nature is to humans. Here at SAI Sanctuary, the forests provide us with soil and water and air for so much of India, and when you get to see that happening, you see the water rushing through the rapids, and you see all of these trees with their huge roots holding it in place. You can really remember how nature is so imperative to human lives and to the lives of all the other creatures. Some of my favorite memories here include going frogging and seeing how every single frog has some little unique thing about it, and they eat 2.5 times their weight in bugs every day. So all of those bugs that we think of as pests, they are taking care of them. Another favorite memory was hiking up this gorgeous mountain, and we got to look at a 360 view. It was beautiful. It was one of the most breathtaking moments of my life. So I could not have had these experiences without coming to SAI Sanctuary. So I'm just so grateful for Pam and Anil and all of the teaching that we got here. I'm just so thankful for this opportunity, and I encourage anyone who wants to learn about nature to come to SAI Sanctuary.
While we've been here, one of the biggest themes has been nature's balance. It's clear when you come to a place like SAI Sanctuary how much each species depends on one another, and how much the entire ecosystem depends on them coming together as a whole. But it's one thing to see that, and it's another thing to live in that balance altogether and see how much you depend on nature. When you come from a place like I do, where you're using artificial lighting, washing machines, clothes dryers, air conditioning all day, it's easy to forget how fake those things are. And you really only remember when you come back to a place like this and get in tune with your place in the balance of nature. What happens then? Well, for starters, you sleep when it's dark, not when you can't possibly stay up any longer. The crickets and the frogs put you to sleep, and the sun and the birds wake you up, and they're much better than an alarm clock. Back at school, I have a hard time falling asleep, and I hate waking up. And you know, when I wake up a half hour before class, rush out, forget to brush my teeth. But here, the sun gives you a bit of time. And you know, you can read a book, you can enjoy the view, you can breathe a little bit. And I think that leaves you a lot better prepared, a lot more ready to take on the day ahead of you. We also washed our clothes by hand for the first time. Of course, it makes you a lot more picky about what you really call dirty. And every time we think it's about to rain, we have to run back to our cottages and take everything off the clothesline before it gets wet. But I can say I feel pretty proud wearing underwear that I washed with my own hands. And when clothes are drying out there in the jungle air, I've never smelled anything better. It takes effort to admit that we can't control the ancient forces around us. Pam and Anil realized this a while ago. So their house doesn't only run on solar electricity, but wind and hydroelectric as well. But what are the benefits of living in balance with nature's balance? I think that only once you've confessed that you can't control nature, can you really begin to appreciate it. For example, while we were working here, we didn't take time off on Saturdays and Sundays. We took time off when we couldn't work anymore. But what better way is there to spend a rainy afternoon than just relaxing inside and playing cards? Seems a lot better to me than trying to work while the nature is just tormenting you from beyond the window. And so what we realized is that if you grow up the way we grew up, you think that you can create the environment around you and you can separate yourself from nature. But it turns out that once you surrender that little bit, once you let nature take control, nature makes it worth it.
Thank you, SAI Sanctuary.
Thank you, SAI Sanctuary.
Thank you, SAI Sanctuary.